She actually, no, yesterday she went on her lunch. It was 55 minutes still. Hi, Sam. How are you doing?
Hi, Shruti.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm still working on this white paper draft. I'm hoping to get something out next week for review.
So this is the draft for PUE alone,
Yeah, PUE part.
for PUE part. Okay.
And also, I want to get the draft going on IUE. But I think the main work really needs some more digging into the PUE so that we can all call out what are the issues that we know, right?
I mean, for this end of year, are we targeting just the PUE draft?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
we will release both the draft. I want to release both, but I want to get the PUE more mature.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any proposal or any things that you want to review today, Shruti?
I'm actually losing your voice in the middle, but I think you're asking that if there is anything particular I wanted to do today, right? Like I was
Yeah,
thinking,
do you have anything in your list?
I was, if you are close to the PUE draft, then we can, review that. But it doesn't have to be on call. We can do an offline review also.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the
So
only.
what I will do is before the next meeting, I will send out the draft,
Okay.
so that we can have an offline review and get all the things ready. Then we can come and have a discussion on anything
Sure.
concerning things there, right?
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Also, I do.
One thing I don't know. I have not seen anybody else join. Maybe give a minute or so. Only
Yeah.
one item I would like to kind of bring to the attention here.
Mhm.
So are you aware of DCIF?
DCIM.
IF, the data center infrastructure efficiency.
Oh, DCIF.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've not been using it so much, but I'm aware of the metric. Not sure if it is like well defined somewhere though.
It was funny actually. Like when I looked at the green grid, I saw like that this is nothing but what we were saying efficiency percentage, right?
So it's the same definition?
It's 1 by PUE.
I see. DCIF. So green grid defines it. Is that right?
I don't know green grid defined or who defined. It's part of the PUE as part of when they defined the PUE.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, DCIE. I see that. Okay.
That is the things that we are talking about the percentage, right?
Right. Okay.
I was looking to see any precedents regarding the percentage we discussed before. Then I found this one and I said like, oh, yes, I think they were looking percentage too. So when we say percentage, it's not something new that it's kind of, we can position it as it's a well-known kind of thing, right?
This is because we want to express our PUE in percentage. Like that is the approach because of which you were looking for this.
No, the system level, when you do, what happens is you are dividing by 0, right? You want to avoid that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we discussed that because of dividing by 0, we want
Correct.
to flip the math.
Right. Then I think even their point of view is that you can calculate TCIF and you can divide by, 1 by DCIF gives you the PUE. Or you can calculate PUE and divide it and you can get a DCIF, right? So
If I remember correctly, we had that problem of dividing by 0 and wanted to flip. That was in IUE.
yeah. What I mean to say is data center never operates at 0.
Yeah.
So you didn't run into divide by 0 issue there.
Yeah.
In node level, you will run into the issue, right?
Right.
Because the node
But
is
this,
ideal state,
Mhm.
then you are really not getting anything out of it, right?
Yeah, that's right. So what
Right.
I'm asking is Green Grid's DCIE is the flipped math of PUE though, not IUE.
Yeah. So they were only looking at PUE perspective. I was trying to see any
Okay.
percentage based representation being used.
Okay.
Hello everyone, this is Gopi. Just sorry, got delayed.
Okay, no problem. So we were just discussing
Yeah,
Gopi
I heard
about
the right. Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think when we say IUE in percentage, I think that's probably okay. Given that being DCIF being kind of definition were there.
Mhm.
So that is one point. And second point, what I discovered was that they were proposing something called CPU capacity and utilized capacity, memory capacity, utilized memory capacity. Same thing, storage capacity and utilized storage capacity in the network capacity and utilized network capacity. But I don't know whether it's been used widely.
Why do they want to bring those terminologies? But anyway, we know, max versus what the actual, right? You can get and you can measure it also. There are methods to do it in a way, right?
Right. I think the question is, I think when I see their discussions, right? They discuss, but they never kind of made that as a general metrics people should be using.
Mhm.
It's one of the points to consider, but not really like
Okay.
metrics for kind of widely kind of deployable. They didn't put any schemas around that or things like that, right?
Right. Okay.
So again, on IEU white paper, we can really say PUE white paper, we can say that is not kind of defined. But going forward, all the metrics or group that we are doing plus element your group,
Right.
we should be comprehending that, right?
Okay.
Give me a couple of give me a minute. I will share a couple of slides. I think one area we will really like run into kind of tension is how do you define the CPU metrics? When I see the way they were kind of discussing, probably it was a long time back. We may not agree now that is a matrix we can align on it, right?
Okay. Which team were discussing? Sorry, I'm trying to lose the
The green
reference.
gate,
Oh,
green
green.
gate.
Okay, I see. Okay. Got it.
So let me share a thing here. Let me see whether I can.
By the way, where all this material is posted? I'm struggling to access the material.
Uh, funny thing is, it was in one of the videos.
Oh, I see. Okay. No issue.
So when I went through the videos and I saw the presentations, but
Okay.
I'm not able to look at exactly the point. I'm going to bring it up here for us
No
to.
problem.
So Gopi, do you, while you're waiting for me to bring that on, do you have anything to discuss today?
No, nothing much, So I was with some meetings with the customer in a way, right? NSF, National Science Foundation. Those on a different node in a way, but all this will kind of correlate in a bigger picture in a way. And I think there is a huge interest in measuring things accurately via the software, and then going back and say what controls can I put in place if I want to dial up or dial down or what it is, so that I can lead into sustainability and then also energy efficiency operations in the data center, right? So there's a huge interest, and especially where I meet with all the large scale deploys like Army, Navy, and federal space. And I think these will be very, penetrative there, as we move forward. We need to shape, because I'm working with ARPA-E, which is the energy need to shape, right? So all these definitions and, usages will be very, essential.
Right.
Only thing is I want to understand here, what is the timeline will look like, right? So yeah, you're defining the metrics, then you kind of, right, translate, get a industry acceptance, and then later on come with a measurement methodologies and standardization, API, software integration, etc. So it looks like it's a long pole. So I don't know what is the overall timeline, here.
Shruti, you want to talk anything on the timeline, what we are committing on the OCP side?
Sorry, I missed your exact question, Gopi. You wanted the timeline for?
So when we want to say you define the metric, then you come up with a methodology to measure, and then you'll go back and expose as APIs or whatever the case may be. So that will take some timeline, right? So that way you can go back and you do a evangelization within the federal space where I deal with, and then also, of course, on the commercial side of it. So what is the timeline look like? Is it just 6 months or 1 year, 2 years? I'm trying to get an understanding, because there's an immediate question they'll ask. Oh, yeah, this is great, looks great. So when can I have it, right? That'll be the immediate question it comes.
Yeah, I think. So one thing is, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, right, we are sort of trying to build our roadmap for 2024. So we should probably have a little better idea after that. My first expectation, certainly. So yeah, that time I can, certainly update you after, say, 2 weeks in the end of December or start of Jan.
Okay.
But yeah, I would expect for, for there to be available APIs to use, etc., would certainly be like a year or more.
A year timeline. Okay.
Yeah, that would be my first expectation. But yeah, once we sort of put down, because Mohan is also involved in, building the roadmap for 2024. After that, maybe we can see a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good enough. So that way I can communicate the message back to the data center operators. So that way, hey, it is a rough outline, and then kind of see if there is any specific concern, questions, any clarifications they need. So that way this team can drive discussion into them, in a way, right? So
yeah.
Okay. Actually, there is two ways I kind of look. Maybe I think I'm getting back here.
Echoing,
Yeah, two ways of looking.
Hello?
Is it better now?
It's kind of breaking.
Your voice is breaking, Sam.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Little better. Are you on a headset, or you're a little bit away, or what is it like?
Yeah, I'm on the headset to USB on.
Okay, keep going, yeah.
Okay. So there's two ways of kind of looking at it, right? One is the definition need to get matured.
Sure.
Then there are schemas that we are defining to how do we get the data, right?
Yeah.
Then finally goes the implementation, right?
Okay.
But we really want to get there is by end of next year, we need to have a definition and the measurement mechanism fully defined, right?
Baked, yeah, sure.
So that product can start looking at it for implementation.
Okay, sounds good, yeah.
Right, Shruti? Is that a right way kind of?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So the one I'm sharing here, it is one of the videos from Green Grid. It's again talking about that PUE and DCIE. I was talking about it before. In that, they were kind of talking about what is the CPU matrix, memory, storage, and network. They're kind of you need to define each one. Then you're basically they're saying IT capacity is consists of, I don't know, whether a set of all these triplets. And if I go, in fact, it was one from Intel, I believe Microsoft contributed to here too. The CPU they're saying is clock speed and number of cores. That is a maximum, right? Sigma for all those things. Whether do we agree on this? We need to kind of debate about it, right? Today, as we are saying it homogeneous, you may say it's similar. When it goes to heterogeneous, it becomes totally depending on the workloads and other things. Things changes a lot, right? So compute capacity today, it has a lot of accelerators and GPUs and all kind of stuff on top of that, right? So I think we should be start thinking about how do we want to represent the compute portion of it. Then again, you can say if I have a compute, then you can say how much you are utilized and how much you are spare available. Similarly, if I go on memory, they're really looking at the capacity. What is the capacity and how much capacity is utilized? But again, they're not accounting for a various performance portion of it, right? And similarly for a storage, it's a total capacity versus what is really like configured capacity versus what is stored and not empty kind of thing. And similarly, when I look at network, really like they're looking at what is the edge capacity and the access capacity. What the way they are defining is this is edge or ingress, and this is access. They want to sum everything together and say that is the capacity. And the way they are positioning the thing is, if you have all these things, you know what is utilized more and what is empty and what need to be provisioned. And if I go a little further, it is different way of showing it, and you can see here this is mostly utilized. This need to be increased if you want to look at multi-year things. Another way really positioning it is if you have all these things, you know, this year you are way down and increase some of the memory, then you increase the memory and your CPU utilization went down and is catching up, then this is kind of more of a sweet spot, right? Again, this is a good talking points. You need to have all the measurement in place, right? I think that is another thing we need to put, and actually the what is the real metrics and what do we want to agree on it. We need to promote that, right?
This Gopi, a quick question.
Yeah.
We have all these, measurement techniques in place. We look at this data day in, day out, right?
But is it available in a standard way?
Well, when we do the characterization or optimization to any customer applications and everything, we have tons of terabytes of data. right? All the way from microarchitectural data like Iman to VTune to OS level and name anything. We have all those
Yeah, I
low
think
level,
but
right?
question is it available in a standard way? You can compare apple to apple.
Yeah, we have in standard format, and we have post-processing tools. Hit a button, it just builds everything on a common timeline, and then you have all the data. And then
Right,
because
but
I used to, yeah,
But I'm again asking
Huh?
Kobe is it is available in OS and everything, but we want to get it out in a standard way where it gets stored
Yeah.
in a standard way.
We have two things. One is we collect all the raw data. Raw data is all there.
You
And
collecting
then,
whenever you need it.
yeah, you can turn it on. Whenever you
Right,
want, you can
right,
turn it
right,
on, turn it off, right?
right, right.
You get the data, hit a button, it processes everything. I used to have 16 node cluster or 30 node cluster, hit a button, it generates 864 graphs automatically, right? I have all the data,
No, no, you
Well-
have it proprietary way.
right?
Do
But the
we have it in a standard way where if I say I have OCP system,
Mhm.
hey, give me the data.
No, we need to set up all those tools, tracers and all those stuff, right? So, it's all software tools. You need to put it on the system, turn it on whenever you want, and then take a snapshot 4 times a day, 8 times a day,
Right,
and
right,
then
right,
all
right.
those
That
stuff.
means
Yeah.
that means you need to deploy some additional software.
Yes, of course.
Right, right. So those are the things, right? When you go to standard,
Mhm.
you want to have a metrics that you can collect in a standard way,
Yeah. Mhm.
right? That need to be aligned. People are they willing to put those additional software on your in-band, or are you going to be in outer-band?
No, so see, when it is a production level hardware, nobody is going to put data collection, right?
So if you are not
So,
putting
yeah.
data collection,
Mhm.
it's not giving you the measurement. It is giving you for pre-production. That is totally a different space.
No, they can turn it on. The question is, there is a performance hit. Are the customers willing to take that risk? That's the
So-
question,
So
right? So,
if again, when we say performance hit, there's two things, right? Do we have a mechanism without taking performance hit? Can you collect the data?
no, these are all pretty. I mean, we have something called perspect, right?
Right,
I can
right,
have
right.
1% performance hit, just an example, right?
Right, right.
And then if I go back and open it up, I'm going to collect everything 25 milliseconds. I'm going to have tons of data, right? Then there'll be a problem, right?
That's
So,
why there is a lot of work is going on to get the collection outside out of band, not
Yeah.
through in band. So you're not having a performance penalty there, right?
But again, so this one, right? So it depends upon the objective. If you want to look at all the micro architectural data, cache hits, misses, TLB, bandwidth, storage, thread level, core level, system level, there's tons of data, right? So that means nobody is going to collect the data once it's deployed in the production. If it is a one node, sure, they'll do it. If you say put it on 1,000 nodes, nobody's going to do it, right?
So
So that's my concern, right?
So that's why I think we need to align on something similar to this, right?
Yeah, I don't know what these people's initiative is. So
No. Nothing. What I'm
So
trying to say, out of OCP, what we are trying to define the metrics. And if you want to provide in a standard way, what are the things we want to use cases we want to go after with that metrics that we are defining? And what are the non-use cases, right? For example, the way you kind of say is in-depth troubleshooting, or if you want to do the in-depth capacity or whatever the root cause, all those things, right? You may have a set of data that is good for debugging, but you cannot deploy it at that scale, right?
Yep.
But you want to have a solution, you want to deploy at scale, which may not provide you all the use cases, right?
No, I agree. Yeah. So there are various use cases.
Right.
If it is a question of monitoring sensor data, I have hundreds of sensors.
Right.
Give me every 5 minutes. Sure,
Right.
no brainer. You can put it in, right? We have standard tools and you can hit a button, done. But if you want to go deeper level microarchitecture analysis for doing characterization, optimization and all, lot more data. What does it mean? The people wants it? Probably not.
Right.
But we have a lightweight drivers we are available. so they can collect the data. So we need to go back and say, if you enable, basic, you get this. If you enable medium level, you get this. If it is a very deep level, you're going to get this. So we can go back and do a proposal and then say, we have all this data, whatever they have put in this slide, everything is there already.
Yeah. This
Just
is the older
only-
slide anyway. It's it's a known, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Right.
I don't know when 2017. Okay.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is,
Yeah.
what we go as a OCP
Okay.
in a standard way, what we want to say, like all these systems need to have the minimum set of things, right?
Yeah, sure.
That,
Yeah, we can go with that.
required,
Mhm.
optional. In the optional category, maybe the medium advanced, right? The basic has to be required, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So that kind of things we need to still define exactly what we really want to go after. And what is that going to be kind of used, right? If you want to go down to this path, do we want to really like look at a compute memory storage network, or we want to say like stay out of this picture and maybe define something as a performance or whatnot, right? The reason I'm bringing it up, I think it's one of the things that we want to kind of start looking at metrics based on performance versus power, right?
Yeah, sure. We need to measure both,
Right,
Yeah,
right,
definitely.
right.
Yeah.
And
Can
I
you-
think,
Speaking of,
go
sorry,
ahead,
when you
Smriti.
said, do we need to go, into the depth, into compute memory storage and network, are you sort of thinking that, like PUE, there would be power measurement for each of these equipment? That's what we need to go into.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking as a question.
Okay.
Right.
So I would just want to point out the other work stream, right, under OCP sustainability, one other work stream, power telemetry. They are basically going into the device level power metrics, and then intent going one level higher into like the overall compute, overall memory, storage, and network metrics.
Yeah,
So
their
overlap,
charter is to collect as much data possible,
right?
but our charter is to define what is the metric you want to get out of it, right? It's a kind of complementary things. We need to kind of say these metrics, this is a representation we want to get out of the system. And they are creating how do you measure it, right?
So we want to put a PUE kind of metric at these levels.
Correct. What is that metrics really means that we need to define here, right? Here, for example, this is not a good representation, but I'm just taking as a representative, right? If you want to say capacity or total DC capacity, compute capacity is a metric we want to use, because the element Workstream can read the number of cores, and they can really read what is the clock speed you're operating, or what is your maximum capacity. They can come get all the data, correct? But as a what metrics if you want to drive for a system level, we need to kind of define that what is the real metrics need to look like and align on it. Then there you can think of they're the implementer of the metrics, right?
Again, right? It depends upon what scale you want to measure. For example, I'm running a graph 100 workload, right? It's all about GTAPs, gigatraverse edges per second, right? When I do for NASA, is a large scale cluster. I have 1024 node cluster. I'm going to do all kinds of things, right? But the metric for them is totally different. If you have a, heterogeneous systems, and then how do you go back and take all these stuff? Okay, Sigma, right? CPU, these the, capacity I have. How will they use it? I don't know. I'm trying to see. There is no usefulness there, right?
I think that's a question I'm asking.
Yeah. So is
as a OCP,
yeah.
do we want to define a compute capacity? Does it even make sense?
To me, is not. For example, for a cloud player, if
Right.
they want to go back and slice and dice the machine, how many instances I want to create, then maybe some level they can use it. Okay, I'm going to have so many cores dedicated for VMM engine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How many instances? What is, all those things, right? Other than that, I don't know, right?
Right.
I'm not sure about it.
Yeah.
Those are my views.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I was just kind of, since I was trying to collect.
Sure. Good point. Yeah, I agree.
Collect the data I came across. I just want to kind of review this team here, right?
Oh no, this is great, Sammy. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Uh,
Is anybody doing anything? This is a 2017 presentation, right? So I don't know where they are at.
So I think so far what I have seen is only PUE
Oh.
reporting going on, right? Nothing else. It's
Nothing else. Yeah.
came really like as a standard way getting reported, right?
Mhm.
And even though they talked about it, nothing was kind of clearly defined. What is the standard mechanism to get this out, right? Nothing was defined.
Right. Yeah,
So,
from a performance architecture angle, when I run a workload A,
right,
it can be teraflops, petaflops, or requests per second for a database, whatever. It has those metrics.
right.
They'll be more interested when it runs on a single node to a rack of clusters, etc., etc. That's what it is, measurement already, which includes, oh, okay, this is what I'm getting. But you can decompose, and then you can get what is my memory bandwidth, am I utilizing well or not, all those
Right,
things, storage, etc. We have all those data. That's what I meant, right?
Right.
So, but how do we want to take it to the next level? If somebody wants to know what is my data center capacity, CPU capacity, I don't know, you just give some huge number, what decision they make. I'm
Right,
concerned about
right,
it, right?
right.
So, yeah, those are, yeah. Good. I'm
Okay,
glad you
yeah,
came across
yeah.
this, right?
No,
So,
the reason I was kind of looking is when we are going through the white paper, right? I want to really call out
oh yeah,
what is a
sure.
thing POE out of OCP. Here is our understanding, and here is what is going to be measured.
Okay. Sure,
Right?
sure. Yeah.
All
Okay.
these things, even though there was discussion, the metrics was defined.
Right.
You can
Agree.
call out these mean people are looking at it, and but these are the opens that we need to be resolving it.
Sure.
So the PUE white paper is more kind of saying like, what is it currently available? What is the gaps?
Yeah.
Right? Let's kind of complete that as that white
Yeah,
paper.
yeah.
Then
Sure,
when we are
sure.
doing IEE, then we are really trying to address those gaps as IEE metrics, right?
Right. No, good point. And then what we can problem, I think, just I'm putting onto the table, we have a lightweight human driver, for example, right? It's pretty simple. You can hit on it, and then it collects all the data. You can turn it on, off, whatever, right? And then it is very easily implementable, right? No rocket science. Those can be taken and say, this is what you are going to get, and maybe we can see if there is an interest to, collect this type of data so that part are fully, we can use it all across what the 4 vectors you showed us. We can maybe propose that. So I can show you the data next time, so we can in one-on-one. So maybe there may be some value here and see, yeah, I think we should take it, right? So that way you have a performance vector plus you have a power vector, and that will roll up to a node to rack and data center. Maybe they can look at a holistic view, right? So, and see if there is any usefulness.
Right. So again, we need to connect both what is really need from in-band, what you need it from out-of-band, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So that way we can maybe make that recommendation as part of the things, right? Say, you need to able to collect this data and you need to comprehend it. I think that's the solution part, but the problem side, I think it's not available in a standard way, right?
Right. Sure.
What are the things not available that we need to kind of
Yeah. I'll show you offline, so when we meet, or I can bring it here either way.
Okay.
Then see what makes sense, and we can create an action plan around this and go.
Okay. So
Thanks
then, so I think before you joined Kobe, but I was talking to Shruti, I will send out the white paper for an IEE that since I'm collecting all the data, I'm going to put together next week.
Okay.
Send it out before we meet next Friday.
Okay.
So you guys can review and provide some input. Then it'll be good that when we meet next week, at least I want to go to at least 50-60% of level that is kind of ready.
Okay.
so that we can start closing on that white paper.
Okay, when is the deadline, or plan
We
to
want
think?
to get the white paper done by end of the month.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. Since like there are a lot of data being discussed, we are now trying to put all these things in a paper, right? So that people can read it easily offline,
Okay.
right?
No problem. Yeah, send me. I'll definitely look at it and
Okay.
provide input. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sam, I had one more question. Sorry, I
Yeah.
also had to drop off, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. So at some point we had also discussed, the concern with industry being comfortable sort of releasing publicly the information about, what is the rate at, or what is the sample rate, workload, etc., at which their PUE was measured, at which the measurements for PUE were done, stuff like that. Did we address that in the paper also, or are we intending to address that?
We want to say that is one of the gaps, but not really like solutions, right?
I was wondering if this discussion was with you, or I'm forgetting with whom. Somebody was suggesting that, maybe it should be categories of PUE, just so that folks can sort of publicly declare what category they are in without completely declaring all the sample rate, workload, etc. information.
Yeah, so there is, in fact, I also found some materials related to that. I think the way there was some different names used. I think we need to align on it. There is a monthly, weekly, and daily, and even hourly kind of metrics were there, right? Or at least the way you can collect and combine them, right?
Sure.
You are right. I think we need to put some names people can associate when we say PUE. It's a annual, or is it a quarterly or monthly? Some suffix we need to add. That way people know what, when we are saying PUE, what is that they're really saying it, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, something for the sample rate duration as well as, because percentage of workload is important in PUE measurement. So if we said this is at a level 1 PUE, does that mean that it is monthly and workload is within this ballpark?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I don't know whether the workload people are willing to put number, but we should probably put something. One is people are talking about capacity, right? What is a capacity based PUE? Meaning you can say, what is your maximum? If you operate max, what is that you're going to get? Then if you're operating somewhere in your sweet spot, so we want to even put a percentage number, like you said, 50%, 60% region, right? That we want to say. Or if you want to say something totally, I am not telling you, but here's my PUE, right? That's a good point. I think we should put some terms, and we probably want to say what is it currently used or published it, so we can make it it's not clear depending unless you dig into the data, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will add a section to kind of talk about that
Yeah,
reporting.
even if we are not resolving
Right.
it, maybe we can, at least mention it in our draft and maybe.
Right. Here is a concerns. That's why we need to say define some suffixes with that PUE number, right?
Sure. Oh, sorry, I have to drop off.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done with this discussion today. Okay, see you guys next week. I will send a mail with a draft before the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful
Bye.
day. Yeah.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.